What's up, YouTube world? It's your boy J Dub, the number one comment on YouTube, and I'm back with another review. Today, I will be reviewing Married at First Sight. This is season 5, episode 11. But before we get into that, with Married at First Sight, I do couple by couple instead of one long review. Seems to work well with the Dub fam. And as I told you, I am YouTube's number one commenter. So with this channel, it's all about the comments. If you're new here, immediately feel free to jump in and use the model of this channel. Say what you say. You you think Stacia and Nate look like the Wonder Twins, or you wondering why Dr. Pepper's just showing up in this episode, and this is episode 11? You need to just put that down there. Say hello. Engage with each other. But the only thing I ask is that we stay respectful to one another. That's it. That's all. Other than that, say exactly how you feel, whether it's popular or unpopular opinion. Believe me, it's all about the comments. This is what I do it for. This is why. That's the energy that keeps me going. So as I mentioned, Stacia and Nate. So that's who we're gonna get into first. Um, this is the episode is called "Back to Our Future," and from the beginning, Nate and Stacia they receive a house call from Dr. Pepper, and as I said, where's Dr. Pepper been? It's episode 11, so we talking we like 11 weeks in, but I know they on an 8-week process. So I was wondering, did they fire her? Is she a friend to the show? I don't know what's going on. Especially we heard about like two new guest therapists, or someone, people who offering their talents or whatever. And we've only seen one so far. So I think it's time for another format because it's not flowing smoothly. It's all over the place, and we need some consistency. And not only that, we need some consistency that works. And Dr. Pepper just comes in and shows us why we miss her so much. She immediately starts to earn her uh, married at first sight paycheck. Because from the first statement, she tells Stacia, like, with all the pressure she's been putting on Nate to, I guess, go at her pace and how he should feel at this moment, Dr. Pepper said, listen, you didn't marry yourself. Boom! My head blew up. It blew off just from that one statement. Just, I mean, it simplified like everything. Just letting you know, like, the way you would do things is not necessarily the way the other person would do things. And even Dr. Pepper took it a little further, saying that like in real life, you're a woman and that's a man. Y'all gonna think and feel way differently on different space. Y'all not It's not gonna look like it. And I mean that is generally speaking for most relationships. And you've heard the saying men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Generally to me, that's true because like we come from different thought spaces and views and all that kind of stuff. There's no way it's gonna look exactly like of any pretty much any situation where it's like we're gonna be thinking or feeling the same way. We're coming from a different lane. And I'm really tough on Nate. I gotta say that. But I have to like really give credit where credit is due, and when he don't get the credit, he don't get the credit. I liked how he seemed attentive with Stacy, and like he was following up on questions that like Dr. Pepper put out. Like, just say for example, like um, Dr. Pepper said, well, you need both need to start listening actively, and they look over and say, Stacy, you think how am I doing actively listening? I really like that. That shows care and attention for a person. Maybe it's a role, maybe it's not, but what I saw, I was really pleased with. Like, he already started his Zoom counseling classes or something. I don't know. I just like to see it. So within the Dr. Pepper house call session, we learned that, hey, Stacy and Nate have finally consummated their marriage. Now, a lot of people have speculated and said, like, how close they are or how anxiety filled, stress ball type Stacy is. Like, she already didn't gave it up. And but they've actually confirmed it because all the experts want to know, especially Freaky Pastor Cal, want to know, have you consummated that marriage? Let me hear about it. When did it happen? Where did it happen? Did it happen on this couch? I want to know. That's how I go with Freaky Pastor Cal. So the couples are assigned writing their younger selves a letter, and they normally do this in most of the seasons. And Stacia and Nate were sitting down like at, I guess, like a little candlelight dinner, had like a little open flame going on, and it looked like Nate was having like one of those Mitch moment. I don't want to say something else. A Mitch moment when like Stacia was reading a letter, he was just like playing with the fire and staring straight, and I'm like, it felt very disengaging. Like she's supposed to be vulnerable, spilling her guts and telling how what advice she would give to her younger self. I mean, really, it was boring. I was disengaged too, but I was focused on Nate, and he answered on cue. Once she finished, he was like, "Oh," gave her all. That was a good response. Like, oh, and then he hit her with a fist bump. Like, to me, those are signs of like bro code or something. That's your brother. But again, what Nate comes from a younger generation, but I'm thinking like you just met this woman, you're not like romancing her, you're really like buddy buddy again, because a lot of the younger generation are truly out of touch with like showing emotion and having feelings or all that. It's just about texting and hooking up or whatever. So I don't know where it comes from. Maybe it comes from his childhood background. A motherless child is something. When dad can leave all day. When a mother leaves, I mean that affects the child a lot forever. So unless they get it cleaned up. So like I said, Nate is really giving. He said he wanted a best friend, so obviously that is his best friend. But Stacia is like gazing into this man's eyes. You can tell straight up. I believe whatever Stacia definition is love is that she loves that man, and she's just like looking like, wow, this is my husband. We have a wonderful future together. And Nate just staring, somewhere else, like he want to, go hiking with his true best friend. That snow bunny from the the beginnings of the episode. We never saw her again though. But Nate did read his letter. It was pretty forgetful, but what I did remember that stand out, what he left out, he didn't mention anything about his mother. Now, I can't tell you, like Stacia, I'm not going to tell Nate how to process his feelings or what he should say in the letter, but I find it very strange that he doesn't mention her at all. Like, yeah, he can be disconnected, as he said. That's a stranger, but certainly that left some type of void in his life. I know it has, but he doesn't seem to speak on it much. So I would really like to really get deeper in that situation just to find more about him, because throughout excuse me, this episode it was really a lot of discovery, like from the what happens in your childhood. And we actually get to see Nate. He visits his childhood home, and his dad still lives there. And we truly learn how Nate's upbringing kind of affected him. With the no emotions, he's not supposed to cry. He's supposed to be tough. Even though he did cry at Stasia's panel with her mom and her friends or whoever was there, it was just pretty much, I guess, understood that his father said like crying shows signs of weaknesses. And when Stacia asked a great question, like asking Nate's father, like, how did he do it? Or, being a single father, because I guess Nate has another sibling. And he was saying, like, well, when people ask me, I was like, these are my kids. I wouldn't have it any other way, I guess, because, the mother's gone. And Nate's father started to tear up. And Nate said that was the first time he's ever seen his father cry. And his father was just saying, like, well, I've teared up before, but I never try to do it in front of him. And that's a real thing. I get that, especially when you're missing a parent, how parents try to toughen their kids up for the world, but it's like a very one-sided thing. Yeah, you taught them how to be tough and shield themselves from hurt, but also you have not allowed them to have a compassionate side, to care for other people, to express themselves when they're hurt or sad or anything like that, because that's very important for a girl or boy, because that girl or boy is going to grow up to a man or a woman, and that's like pretty much necessary to have like a truly healthy relationship. So I believe that most parents are doing their best, but I guess that's why it's so important to truly have a involved, loving, caring mother and father, so you can kind of get both sides. Not that only mothers provide that, but it's more of a well-rounded experience, because just you're only going to get one perspective if you're just raised by your mother or you're just raised by your father, and it really shows up. And people, I still don't think to this day people really don't understand how important the way you raise children will affect them for the rest of their life. Because I know people I've seen a Facebook post even say like, well, it's not your parents' fault. How you grew up on the mistakes you made. Grow up. In most cases, it's just not that simple. It's like this: certain things have been ingrained in you. Certain things you viewed your whole life. It's like built inside you, good, bad, or indifferent. Most people follow them or do the exact opposite. And a lot of times most people just follow like they're on automatic pilot. So that's a real thing. Like raising children, you gotta be about your business, and you gotta be mindful, and you should be well rounded in raising those kids, because they're not going to be well rounded if you don't raise them that way. It's just going to be one sided, and it's going to really show, and they're going to lack some things, and it's going to make it tough for them to have healthy relationships in any capacity. So, once Dad started tearing up, Stacia started tearing up, and that gave me or us the most weirdest moment in Married at First Sight history, in my opinion. Stacia asked permission of Nate to kind of dry her tears on his shirt. He's like, yeah, go ahead, whatever. So, she hit him one time, hit him with that or whatever. But then she went all the way down to his belt buckle and drying her tears at his belt buckle while she's talking. That looks so weird to me. And I didn't think more like a sexual thing. I just think it was like so awkward. I've never seen things like that. Like, you're drying your tears at the bottom of his shirt at his belt buckle while talking. That just looked crazy to me. But okay, I pick up little details y'all might not see. So we go to Stasia's hometown or whatever, and we learn, I guess we got in depth about how Stacia was emancipated. And to be emancipated, I think some factors have to be present to do it legally. I don't know if she did it legally or she just used the term, because her mother did say that she was in a toxic relationship. However, her mother needed to move and was going to take her at her senior year. And I get that. That would be traumatic. Like, I've been in a situation like, you move from your friends and you're disconnected and all that. That stuff follows you. That's why I have very few childhood friends. I mean, not that friends are, plentiful. But I know a lot of people who have been childhood friends for 30 years or what have you. And I only have one. And I have a lot of people who I consider my friend, and we have no contact because I've moved from different areas. And that's a real thing. That's very traumatic. So Stacia opted to stay because her childhood friend, family allowed her childhood friend Dina allowed her to live with them for the her senior year, and they seemed like a very loving family. And like Nate said, like, he picks up good vibes from the people. Like, it was a lot of love there, and I felt that. One funny thing that I saw is that her friend Deanna, I thought Deanna was her friend's mom, and the other people were the grandparents. That's how old Deanna looked. Like, I was like, whoa, I was blown away. Ouch. But with them, that was pretty much it. Did I forget anything? I don't think so. Um, yeah, that was pretty much it with Stacia and Nate. So drop down in the comments, tell me what you thought, something I missed, something you want to add, and we're gonna keep on rolling out the Married at First Sight couples video. And as I always tell y'all, y'all could be anywhere in this YouTube world, but you're here with me. I really appreciate it, and I really mean it.